Hi, Bo here from High Tech Investment, and in today's video we're going to have a closer look at a couple of copy links that we have provided, some of them for a couple of months, other ones are for more than half a year. We believe that they have been misselected or not selected, and we would like to highlight a few of those here today, and at the same time also having a closer look to see exactly what we discovered when we had a look into some of these copy links. The way the Expert4X site is set up can be a bit deceiving, even though all the different data is definitely correct that we can see. But you might want to choose some different links from time to time as you see the links developments and more links are coming too, because it doesn't always reflect exactly how much percentage you will be able to get out of it on a monthly basis. And we'll explain a bit more about that later. So, and it works actually both ways. So some signals looks to be overproducing percentages. Other one seems to be underproducing, but they're actually doing quite well. And there is ways around this, how you can actually double that. So if you find a graph that says that is exactly where I want to be, that is the way I want to trade, but it doesn't produce the percentages that you want. Well, there is ways to do this, and we're going to show you that in this particular video here. But let's first have a look at some of the videos that we have done before, where we basically go in and show you exactly how we set up the results, how we get the results. And one of the important things that I want to mention here is that we are not going for the highest profit. We're not going for $20, $30, or $40,000 a month here. It is easy enough to do, but there's a massive risk involved. So what you will find in this particular tutorial here is how we get the results, how we try to weigh out the profit and the drawdowns in between them, and then how we select the individual signals, how we test them over several periods of time to make sure that they are as stable as we possibly can have them. And obviously also this is still Forex, so things can go very, very wrong once in a while. And that's what we explain in this particular video. So we're not really holding anything back for you. You have to be aware that even though a lot of people are making a lot of good money with it at the moment, you have to prepare yourself also for losses. In this particular video here, we also explain one of the accounts that was lost, why it was lost. And on top of that, we also explain how we could avoid a lot of the losses, how you can actually secure yourself in almost a 100% way. And that is what this video is all about. So if you haven't seen that one, we definitely suggest you go also and have a look at this one here. Now, we always have the investment disclaimer here. And again, when you start off with the trading, you always have to be very, very careful. We always hear percentages of 70 or 80% that are losing money in the Forex market. Definitely with the Profit Retriever, we can see a good stable income. But as I just showed you here, things can go wrong from time to time. So it's very important again here that you read the investment disclaimer. And on top of this, also you understand that don't invest money you can't afford to lose. Don't use the family savings or go out and take a loans in order to hope that you're going to make it big in short periods of time. That is not what this video is all about. It's about good solid traction. So somewhere around the 5 to 15% per month. That is more than most people actually get in a year from their investment portfolios. So from the established investment companies, and definitely a lot more than you would get from your bank also. So be cautious when you set up these different links. And at the end of the day, when you link up to all these, it is at your own risk. And what we always suggest that you do when you get to the copy link service, in order to make sure that it works, don't jump out and think that you are losing out a lot of money because you're not trading from day one. The very important thing here is to make sure that you set up a demo account. You test the links on the demo account first to make sure that you are happy with the way the trade is going. And on top of this also, especially when you work on indexes, gold, metals, things like this, and you're running on cent accounts, again, very important here to just let you know that you don't start with a live account straight away, because some of these copy link trading here, It's difficult to see sometimes what pip size it is. You can find that on the FX Blue, but for example, the gap size. And if you have a signal that runs very small gaps, and also at the same time your broker has a high spread, you could have an issue here where you will basically lose money on every single trade. So always start off. So on a demo account, test the signals for a couple of days, a week, whatever it takes for you to be comfortable with it, and then start off with your live account. So now that we have all these things out of the way, let's have a look at the signals itself and see if these are some of the ones that you also would imagine could be something that you would trade in the future. Now, when you jump onto the Expert4X homepage and you go into the different links, you can see here that the copy link service currently has 74 linkable accounts that you can get to. And we have 2 pages of this. So this is just the top 34 we have in here. You can see some massive gains, and the top one here is 160%. And it has been going for quite a long time, 156 days. Total gains is more than 800%. And you have the next one here, almost 600%, 148, 139. And overall, all these are doing 160, 85, 60, 55, and so on and so on. So there is quite a good of profit. Now, what we noticed when we go to this page here is this particular one. It says live accounts, and that means basically the live accounts that people have linked up to. And well, it's not really a surprise to see that a lot of the top signals in here has a lot of links with it itself. You can see 31 here for link 8, 24 has 81, and all these are great. But we do also believe that maybe there's a bit of a misconception in here. So, and we can definitely see there's a few people on the premium forum that has asked the questions. So, and we will try and explain that also through the video, where we will go in and have a look at the FX Blue side to see the percentages that they come out with on the other side. Now, it's important to say that none of these data here is actually incorrect, because these are monthly gains since the account was started. And that means that the monthly gain is actually not the monthly gain that you necessarily will have. And we're going to show you that. But the 160% is basically an average. So since the signal started itself up until now, this is the average percentage you have over that period of time. Now, we have seen in the beginning a lot of traders starting off with high lot sizes and then reducing them as they go along. And we have seen that a lot of people have done this now. So everybody is in reasonable lot sizes. And that means that this 160%, or for example, the link 24, 85%, is not really achievable anymore. And we'll show you that on just an example. But apart from this, you can see there is a large range of links down here. And you will find our links with a little C behind them here. You will see also that there's not too many in the top 20 here. So because we are still aiming. So for the low drawdowns, we are trying to play them as safe as possible. And then again, it might not always happen because we're always doing the back testing. Forward testing will definitely, at the end of the day, prove if we are right or wrong. So far, so good. But you can see a lot of these percentages that are in the 50s, 40s, and all the way down to 20s. And they are still, a lot of people take them into consideration here. You can see that link 25, which is actually our link here, Aussie USD, has 24 links up, so very popular one, and it's gaining 90% or so per month. And that is basically where we want to be. We think that is more than enough and more than achievable to get some good results. Now, on the other side here also, we have some links all the way down here. You can see some of them are basically not making anything. These are the make money. But if we have a look at some of the Profit Retriever ones, we have one here, which is ours, also here, 97C, and it has been going for 69 days. And it's only made 4%. Now, we have gone in and we have adjusted some of these settings as we go along, but we try to be very cautious and very careful. And that means that also this particular one is a bit out of tune with what is actually possible. And we're going to have a look at some of the other ones that are always producing really good results. But because we started a bit slow, or the signal started a bit slow, and we build it up, they might be a bit further down the road than what it actually should be. So be cautious about that. Go in and have a look at the FX Blue sites, so to see exactly what is happening. And that's what we're going to do now. Let's have a look at link 8, and I'll explain exactly why there's difference in between what you see on the Expert4X page and on the FX Blue. So we're on the FX Blue side here with link 8, and as you can see here, it's doing quite well. Balance is $93,829. It's doing extremely well. It is a demo account, but still you can link up to it. Close profit more than 80,000, and you can see here the total return down here is 830%, and the monthly return is 52. And yes, we just saw on the Expert4X site it was 160, and that 160% actually comes from the total return that you have since the account was set up, so 830%, and then you divide it up. So down here in 156 days that the signal has been running. And if we just do a quick calculation here and saying, okay, this has been running over 5 months, and then 5 divided by 830 is somewhere around 160% and a bit. So definitely it lines up. So there's nothing really wrong with that calculation. So the only thing here is with this particular signal, as you might have noticed in the beginning, you have some great drives forward, so a lot of high profit comes in very quickly. We can see now that also it was in a drawdown for a very long time, back in December to mid-January, and then it came good again, but after that it is producing a lot less so than it was before. We can also see average results 382 per day, total trade lengths, so on and so on, but we can go in on the orders itself and have a quick look. And these are the open orders, and we are more interested in the closed ones. We can see that it's trading the Nasdaq 100, and it actually started off with 0.12 lot size, which is extremely high. And I believe since then it has gone down. And if we look at it here, you can now see that it's trading at 0.04. So obviously that is also the reason why you have a major discrepancy in between the 160, which is overall, yes, it has been. But now FX Blue basically tells you that the monthly return is more like 52%, which is most probably what you need to take into consideration if you want to use this particular signal here. Now with the stats here, you can see the same thing as you saw on the other page here before. So we can see the history, we can see the profit factor. It also tells you here the monthly return. And this is, again, if you remember when you set up a FX Blue account, already after a few trades, the FX Blue account will actually give you both a weekly and a monthly return, even though you haven't traded for a full week or full month. It is basically just taking into consideration how the first trades have gone for X amount of days. And then it says, okay, if you're going to continue trading in exactly the same manner, you're going to get the same profits, then this is where you're going to end up at the end of the week or at the end of the month. And as you can see here, that is why you have the difference, because this particular trader started off with big lot sizes and made a lot of money very quickly on a weekly and monthly basis. Since then, it has then come down, is trading more safely now. And that's why you have that discrepancy in between what you have made overall in the 5 months. FX Blue goes in and has a closer look at how you are actually doing it at the moment. And from what we can see, we are normally talking about it's looking a couple of months back maximum. So these numbers are maybe a bit closer to what you can expect if you link up to the service itself. And that is basically the same for all the different links. So it's very important to go in on the FX Blue site itself and have a look. And obviously you can go for a further look also, both on the weekly side, you can see how well they are doing. Monthly is normally the best one. And here it's very clear that this particular trader has done extremely well. So 20,000, 23,000, 23,000 here. And then things have changed a bit after it had the drawdown here in December. It made only 5,000 and then 7,000 and then 3,000 here. So obviously, as the lot size has been turned down, maybe the grid size have been open also, that is where you end up. And as you can see here, the 7 and the 3 plus a few hundred gives more than 10,000, so just a bit over 10,000. And if you divide that into 2 over the last couple of months, that means 5. And at the end of the day, that provides the 50% mark. So based on a $10,000 account. So it is fairly representative of what you would get currently. So there is those two different numbers, and which ones you like the best, it is obviously up to you. At the end of the day, it's what you feel comfortable with. So let's go and have a look at some of the other accounts. And these are our accounts that we think that you should have a closer look at. And we'll explain a bit more about them also, what we have done with them. So the very first link we wanted to go through was number 19 here. So link 108C. As you can see here, total gains is 27%. It has just been trading for 33 days. It's trading the Aussie 200 index. So it's an index file here on the Profit Retriever. And so far we have made up about 24%. And it looks really good. So let's jump over to the FX Blue site and see exactly what are the data. Having a look at the link, so 108C here. So for the FX Blue site, we can see the balance 13,388. Currently it's a small minus floating profit, close profit 3,300. So the free margin is 12,500. And also here is a demo account again. Total return so far 26.5%. Monthly return up at 29.1. So there's a small difference again in between the Expert4X page and what FX Blue says. But that is pretty close. You can see the weekly returns is quite good, 6.3%. And these indexes normally do really, really well. So if we have a look also on the stats side here, we can see that again, the same numbers that we have. We can see the 33 days that we have been trading it. But if we go and have a closer look at that particular signal, we can see that all the way back here in early January, when we set this up, it did quite well in the beginning, which was quite a surprise to us, especially because things weren't moving that much, but it looked like the settings was okay. Since then, it has been slightly adjusted to accommodate for what we believe is reasonable. And you can see that it has been doing quite well every single week so far. And if we have a look on a monthly basis, we can see that the first month was January here, 1,635. And now February looks to be even better. We are only 2/3 in or even less. And we already are up now by 1,750. So this signal is definitely also one to take into consideration. You can see the chart itself. Obviously still very wavy because there's not too many different trades yet, but it will flatten out and definitely look better and better as we trade more and more with this one. Now the second I wanted to show here was currently in position number 24, which is link 53C, and that has gained 162%. This is actually one of our very old signals, 243 days. So it's been around for a fairly long time. You can see the recent equity has gone up by 26,000. And you can see the success rate is also fairly okay, so 67%. This is the US 30 index that has been around for a long time. We've been really happy with this one. And overall, it says that we have made about 20% on this as it looks right now. You can see the graph, it has done pretty well. Don't forget that this particular graph is the equity curve. So that means that some of the dips you see here is not actually losses. It is actually just the drawdown that is indicated on the graph itself. Also very important to understand. So let's jump over and see what it looks like on the FX Blue side. And we have the link 53C here. And it started off with a very bad start, basically. As you can see, with a lot of different drawdowns until we understood how this has to be traded. And since then, it has been doing extremely well. So going up, up, and up. And we can see the balance is 26,300, small floating drawdown at the moment on this particular one. Total return 161%, and monthly return is sitting at 12% as it states on the FX Blue site at the moment. Weekly return 2.8, and as you saw, the trade win 67. History itself is the most impressive part here, 243 days. So really taking over nicely. So if we have a look and see what we can expect, so on a day-to-day basis or on a weekly basis, again, the same numbers that we had here before. We have a look on the weekly side. You can see there's quite a lot of data in here. And the latest part, we can see that many times it has gone and done more than 1,000 in a week. And last week was actually one of the ones again here where it topped up. And this US 30 index is regularly on our top 5 hit list. And it's quite amazing that people haven't really noticed this one here, because it just keeps cashing in. Then it lays dormant for a week or two and only cashing in a few hundred. And then it comes back really, really strong. So this week, it says here 1,360. So, and that is 13% and a bit. If we have a look on a monthly basis, you can see it goes all the way back to June. And obviously this time around, it was not really a good time. It was getting to be summer vacation. And obviously we also got it started at the wrong time, but it came out of it. So back in August, you can see it didn't really make any money. So for a long period of time, but we kept it going. And since then we have adjusted the EA quite a few times, and now it's doing really well. So 2,600, 2,200, 3,500, 4,000, 1,400. And you can see this month here, we're almost close to 2,000, and we still have quite a few trading days left, even though February is a short one. So again, we're ending up well over 20% again for this particular month. And as you can see, back in December, where things were actually quite slow, it made actually 4,000, which was quite a surprise. And this is, if you go in on our webpage, you will see that this has been on the top 5 quite a few times. A very stable signal now after we have sorted it out. And sometimes it takes a bit longer, but indexes are really good. They are returning very good income on these copy links. Now, if we go to the other end of the scale, so basically at the bottom of the list you have here of the 74, you can see on the list down at 68, we also have a link here, so link 97C, and it's done about 10% so far. It is 2.5 months old, so 69 days so far. It has done about 1,000. And we can also see that it's the cash Swiss francs on the Profit Retriever, and in here it says basically 4% so far. And if we have a look at the list itself, we can see there's not too many that are actually signing up to all these links. We have a few links here, which is ours. I see there's 3 and 4 on these, and we have another one up here, US 30, that's at 0. We can do that on another video. But basically there's a way where you can, if you find links down here, you can basically pump them up to a lot more. Now, the reason why we have taken this particular link in here is basically if we go to the forum itself, so this is the same list, you'll see the link is here. And again, the data is the same, but you'll see the drawdown is extremely small. It's only $1,100 here. And if we then go to the FX Blue site and we go up here, we can then see that within that signal, it has had some drawdowns along the way. And this is now one of the signals where we are trying some of the new improved low drawdown facilities in here. And it seems to be doing quite well on this. The total return, as you can see on the FX Blue side, is 9.9, monthly return 4%, which is a bit low. We're going to have a look and see if that is actually correct or not. Weekly return 1%, which is definitely not bad. So if we have a look at the data itself here, again, we have all the data that we saw before, and we have a look at the individual weeks. We can see that it's cashing in every single week, so a couple of hundreds. Here we seem to have a small little hiccup, most probably. And this is from a weekend. And then we can see that it's doing small little amounts so far. Now we have made some changes to this, and overall you can see on the month basis, it's pretty much where it's supposed to be, $500, 170, 336. And now what we are trying to do here with this particular one is try to implement some of the new things that we will make a few videos on in the future, where we are trying to expand a bit on the grid size, different ways, shapes of testing this in order to reduce the drawdown. You can see that basically the last section here, so when we started off in February, we have made some changes to it, and let's see if this is going to continue. But this is one of the signals where you can actually basically make a lot more out of this one. So even though we only have the settings that we have here, this is one that you can go in and actually make 2 or 3 times more on this particular signal if you think that this is something for you. And I'm going to show you that in a second, but before then I'm just going to show you one last signal today. So the link I want to show you here is link 54C, which is in 51st position. Basically it has done 111% over time. But look at the amount of days it has been trading here, so 312. So it has gone up $21,000, and it's trading the Euro Japanese. And obviously it's been around for basically ever, almost since the Profit Retriever came out. And still only 3 people have signed up to the signal. It comes in at 11%, and you can see it's in vast range of a lot of other profit retrievers that are also doing quite well. So on that, but let's go and have a look and see exactly what it looks like when we hit the FX Blue. And this is basically what you want to call the perfect graph. This is the one that you want all your trading signals basically to run on, where you can see it is just going up, up and up, so all the way through. Except the numbers might not be so high overall. You can see the account started off with 10,000, now up to 21. Slightly in profit at the moment. Close profit has been done, 11,131. And you can see the total return 111. Monthly return 7.5% is what the FX Blue says in here. And you can also see the weekly return 1.7, trade win 65. And the most important thing for this signal here is 312 days, which is quite impressive. Now, when we go and have a look at graphs like this, it's really nice to see that it's just ticking in every single month, even though it's not so much. But this signal here is definitely one of the better ones. And I'll show you how you can improve the percentages. If we just have a look at the weeks first, you can see it has been trading for a really long time. So it has been doing quite well. We have done some adjustments to this one also. And you can see on a weekly basis, it's ticking in nicely. 200, 700, 200, 400, 200, and 300. You get a bit more of a feel for it when you look on the monthly side. You can see it has been going up and down. So, and hitting quite 14% here. So with 1400. And the same also here back in July, which is again a bit of a surprise because it was a slow month. But if we just focus on the last 3 months, we can see that it is working really, really well. And basically 13% or 1,338 when we always go back and compare with a $10,000 starting account, because we're not changing the lot size. Also here, another good month, so well over 10%. And you can now also see on the month of February, already past 800, and it continues to do extremely well. So these are some of the accounts that is definitely worth having a closer look at for most traders. And you might be a bit turned off because you go, okay, well, when I look at the chart, it looks very, very nice and smooth, but the numbers in here is not really that impressive. But there's a way to get around this, where you can basically link up to signals like this that has a nice, smooth, gradual curve going. And at the same time, it has very limited drawdown. And in this particular case, we can see the drawdowns. We can see the equity in here. And we can see in the beginning, we had some adjustments we had to do to the signal itself. After that, it has done extremely well. and only been small drawdowns. And if we go in, it's easier to see here that we can see the 1700 is the top one. There's another one here, 1600. So they are quite good and balanced signal now. But obviously, again, we could increase the lot size, which we might do when we do some more testing and when we put new things in place. But we can show you now exactly how you can copy this signal and basically make double the money that we do. So starting from tomorrow. Now, when you want to trade with the coupling service of Expert4X, so you have to be a member of the premium forum. And when you then get in there, you actually have an option where you can get the first 3 links for free. So it's not going to cost you anything. All you have to do is download the Trade Center. And this is actually the program that you see here. And then you add it to a chart with your brokers. And you can then trade all these signals here. Now, the Trade Center link that we have just chosen in this particular case was the one you saw in the beginning of the video here, link 98C. And this one particular, again, we can see there's a little spelling mistake here, but it's supposed to be the Australian Japanese. So this is just an example. And you put that in. But the most important thing is basically the lot factor down here. You can see that for this particular example, it's set at 2.5. Now, what does that mean? Well, as you can see here, lot factor 1 means unchanged. And then means that you can then actually both go up and go down. But 1, that means you're using the same lot size, means also that you are following the signal exactly as the trader has intended it to be. So if you are trading most probably some of the higher risk ones, like this particular link here, you might want to consider, so starting off with maybe a lower one, so a 0.5, or like in this particular case, 0.25, before you work your way up and be comfortable with the drawdowns that this particular link gives, but also obviously gives more profit. Now, if you have a look at the other one and the last link we saw with the nice smooth graph here, then there's an opportunity to go the other way, where you say, okay, the drawdown here, the maximum that it has done, and it has traded for several hundred days here, you can go the other way and saying, well, I don't want to trade the signal if I'm only getting 4 or 5% per month, because I want at least 10 or I want 15. You can basically upscale, as it says also here. And instead of using 1-to-1, you can now add it up to 2 or even 3, whatever you are comfortable with. And saying, well, I'm okay with a drawdown of 3,000 instead. So I want to go to 3. And that means then your lot sizing will be doubling up. And obviously your profits will be a lot higher than our signal is basically providing. So a very little clever thing in here, where you don't necessarily need to take the top signals in here. You can go down through the list. And if you find some with really low drawdowns and a really smooth equity curve, you can go in and you can take some of the links similar to what I just showed you here. And then you can still sleep at night despite having a higher lot size. So I hope you got a bit of insight as to exactly how the copy-link trading service works here. And you don't necessarily have to focus on the accounts that are basically providing the highest returns. You can actually find some that are doing quite well lower down the ranks, but they are just cashing in slowly but surely all the way through. And one of the things that we also mention when we come to the Profit Retriever is that it has to be traded in a portfolio, and portfolio means obviously a lot of different EAs. So try and mix and match them a bit. So don't put all your eggs in one basket where you are trading all the US currency pairs. Try and do some of the crosses in between here also. Try and mix it up with the indexes and also metals, whatever else that you feel comfortable with trading and also that your trader will do. As we mentioned before here, when you are on send accounts, please be very careful trading some of these accounts, because we know that metal and indexes can be difficult and they can also use different lot sizes. So always make sure that you start off on a demo account and then test it out for a few days until you're happy with the link itself, and then only then put some real money behind it. So we hope we gave you a bit of insights as to how you can also view these signals. It's not only the top 10 that are the interesting ones. You can mix and match, not only for the different currency pairs, but also for the profit itself, where you think you can squeeze more profit out of what the trader has done. So feel free to do that, but obviously there's a lot of risk and caution involved, and only you know exactly so what you are comfortable with. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I would like to hear back from you also what you think about it, and how we dissected some of the percentages here. So we're happy to hear more from you and all the fellow traders if this was actually usable. And make sure that you hit the like button and notification button so you can see the next videos that we will have most probably in the next week or so. So we have quite a few videos that we want to send out on the trading side, both on the money tree, but also we have some new changes to the Profit Retriever, where we go in and try and risk the drawdown even more. And we're going to show you that in a video also in the coming week. So stay tuned to the channel and hope to see you on the next video. Bye-bye.